Let's all give a round of applause for Carl Goldman and Habitat for Heroes.
Appreciate it. I want to introduce Sarah Steffen from Habitat for Humanity as well. Let's give her a hand.
Switch it right there.
Most of you know me. My wife and I have owned KHTS Radio since 1990. Very involved in the community. And I was speaking here about, that's good, keep that up. I was speaking here about a little over a year ago, and we were just forming this advisory board, the SCV Habitat for Heroes. And when I start sharing what we've done in the last year and more importantly the project we're about to do and the reason we're here, it's pretty amazing, pretty remarkable what's occurred in 12 months. But for those, everyone is familiar with Habitat for Humanity, right? Yeah. And Habitat for Humanity, the international organization, is set up and has been around now for some 40 years, doing great work throughout the world. And the way it's set up in the United States is it's set up similar to a franchise throughout the country, and you have different districts operating on their own like a franchisee. So they have their own governing board, their own revenue. They're not government funded. It's all done with donations and some grants, but they're supported strictly by the community. Our habitat happens to cover a very wide area. We range from all of the San Fernando Valley, all of Santa Clarita, and all of the Antelope Valley up to the county lines. So it's a gigantic region. The corporate headquarters are down in Woodland Hills. And up till now, Habitat has done some 220 plus low-income homes down in the San Fernando Valley, including what I think is one of the most remarkable villages that they put together for low-income housing. It's in the middle of Pacoima. I describe it like Dorothy leaving Kansas and entering Oz. There's 61 homes down there, two-story homes. Most of the kids could never go out and play because they were in a neighborhood that had so much gang activity. They just couldn't go outside. This is gated. You go in. The kids are playing on bicycles. There's a community garden, a playground. The parents, the grandparents are all outside, and they're doing all kinds of connections like we used to do in the old days as growing up in a small community. Because of this, and Habitat doesn't just hand them the homes, it's sweat equity. They also are not only doing community service, but they're getting life skills, so they're learning. The kids are all getting mentored. They're being helped with their schoolwork. The parents are getting life skills training on financial literacy, etc. So that today, out of the 220 or so Habitat families in the San Fernando Valley, their graduation rate through LA Unified is 99.9%, which is remarkable. Last statistics I saw is about 41% for all LA Unified graduates, and we're talking about at-risk families down there. Anyway, Habitat approached us with taking the Habitat model and the Habitat concept, and instead of just focusing on low-income housing, we twisted it around and focused 100% up here in Santa Clarita for veterans. And these veterans, for the most part, here in Santa Clarita, we've identified almost 11,000 vets in our population of 280,000 residents in the Santa Clarita Valley. That's an inordinate percentage compared to the rest of the country. Right now at COC, there's some 600 vets going through the College of the Canyons program, which is one of the most innovative programs in the country. They have a full-time veteran liaison over there. Most of these kids went through high school here in the Hart School District. They finished high school. They went right into the military, went over and served 2-3 tours of duty. Now they're in their late 20s, picked up, in many instances, a spouse. Some of them have kids. And they've come back here with just a high school education. That's it. They left here when the economy was great. And they have 5 or 6 credit cards that they weren't thinking about paying the Best Buy bill when they were, or their Shell oil bill when they were out in Afghanistan. So they've got credit challenges. Most of them are living back at home with mom and dad, along with now an extended family. So we looked at this model and we said, how can we serve those vets, those young vets, and give them a home that they could own, give them some of the life skills, take what COC is doing, and maybe also tie in a number of the other great nonprofits out here who also have that expertise, and kind of have Habitat be that focal point along with these other organizations. So in creating SCV Habitat for Heroes, I think when I first came here, I was talking about us going out and refurbishing vet homes. And our first vet home, we're not even a year into this, our first vet home we did the Saturday before Veterans Day last year, Josh Murphy's home up in Saco. We totally redid that home. We had over 300 volunteers out there. And it was a full community get-together where we went in, refurbished the home. Josh was a vet from Iraq who was suffering from post-traumatic stress. The day we first met Josh, he wouldn't even come out of the bedroom. Now it's 11 months later. Josh has been out on many of the rebuilds that we're doing. He's out counseling other vets. It's been a remarkable turnaround. So our vision is to go out and do this with many others. In the past year, we've done 10 homes. We did the American Legion. How many of you have been to the American Legion? A few of you. The American Legion, which is right next door to the new library that was built. It was set up, it was built originally by William Hart as a film theater. And I don't think it had been refurbished since the silence went talkies. But it needed some work. And so we went in, we did a fundraiser over at Real Life Church. That was a comedy night last May. We raised $66,000. We netted, took all that money, and totally refurbished the American Legion down there. So now are we hooked up here?
It's ready to go.
So our vision back then was to build a village eventually up here. We looked at it as our 5-year plan. And lo and behold, as we started on this path and created this cross-fertilization, I think only Santa Clarita could do this. We are ready. We announced this to the press about 2 weeks ago, and we're ready now to proceed with our first village. If we stay on track with this, we'll be breaking ground in late spring this year, 2013. 87 homes going in, and I'll start walking through it. This is the entrance. What we envision with this is the different plaques of the armed services up there in the circle. There'll be a water feature in there, and then park benches in the front. And we're going to be working with one of the high schools and actually I'll share that with you in fact, I'll share that with you right now. This is going to go over in the property right opposite the Child and Family Center in Center Point, next door to Bowman High School. Some of you old-timers here remember that was a BMX track for a while over there. And the first hospital in Santa Clarita, which is Creative Years, borders the other side of the property. But it's 24 acres sitting there right next to Bowman High School in Center Point. Can we hit the next slide?
You got it right here.
Oh, you can hit it.
Okay.
So to give you a perspective on it, it's Center Point property, diagonal off of Golden Triangle, diagonal as you're driving down Soledad. You've got the bowling alley right there, and then it's opposite that on the left-hand side as you work your way up Center Point, not that far from the Aquatic Center. Originally, this property, after the BMX track, this property was trying to be developed by a developer. This is around 2006. In fact, that's a 2005 site plan for redevelopment. The brown outline is what they were proposing back there, and I'm sharing this so you can get a perspective on what we're proposing. But they wanted to take down the ridge line. It was going to be mixed-use, high-density plan, and it got rejected in planning very quickly. So the property has been sitting without anything happening with it since then. Go ahead and hit the next slide. Our plan is to not touch the ridge line, not touch any, there's a little bit of oaks on the right-hand side. There are no water issues. Our plan is to take the 24 acres, utilize 7.9 of that, a little under 8 acres, for the actual structures and the development. And then the other 16 acres, a little over 15, between 15 and 16 acres, will remain open space, untouched. The property itself, we're looking at 87 homes. If you look at it, most of the homes are two homes piggyback next to each other that will have 6 inches of space in between, but they'll be owned, each one will own their own home. With special accommodations for vets, for post-traumatic stress. We're going to have special bathrooms in there. We're going to have a number of other accommodations in the homes as well. The homes will also be solar to reduce to reduce the expense for the vet. Then the homes in each of the corners where you don't see that line through them, the homes in each of the corners are going to be about 15% of the homes are going to be single-story homes, 3 bedrooms. The other homes are 4 bedrooms, 2 stories. These will be, the single stories will be 3 bedrooms, 1 story with complete handicap accommodations for them. Go ahead, Sarah. This just gives you a little more overview of what we're doing from a grading standpoint. Go ahead and hit the next one. This is a better perspective of it. So the original plan, again, the property line is in the blue. The original plan is in the orange. Our proposed plan is in the green with the street. You won't be seeing the homes from the street. That's where the monument is going. That's that green outline there that circles over, semicircles over Center Point, and then entrances will be from the 2 sides, elevated up a little so that the homes will not be seen from the street. On the left, you see Bowman over there. The right, Creative Years, is what was that original first hospital. Opposite the proposed project is the Child and Family Center, and just diagonal from that is the current Hart School District site. So it's over there in Center Point. Go ahead and hit the next. Yeah, each and every Habitat for Humanity is built with environmental sustainability in mind. It begins with the architectural design, and then as we said, we're working on energy savings with solar, waterless tanks, and then it's important for us. We need to build these homes economically, but more importantly, we want to build these homes really well so that the vets don't have to worry about repairs and maintenance and such with us. Go ahead, Sarah. So once again, we're following all special protocols on it. We also have a Habitat Restore that just got set up. It's down in Chatsworth, right south of Chatsworth High School. And so we're having that restore. We can take some of the material that we're not using, resell it down at the restore, and have a nice cross-fertilization taking place there. Go ahead. And then on the solar side, we're working with Grid Alternatives, the nonprofit organization, also see not only on the solar panel side, but to see other ways we can utilize energy savings and using more efficiency load. And this goes through, and we have packets that I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but we have packets, and anyone who wants that can take this and have this all printed for them. Go ahead, Sarah. And then ensuring the veterans advance. I want to talk about this for a minute or so, and so you understand. What I believe will happen with this is by putting all the veterans together in this one location, we're going to get that same peer-to-peer counseling. How many of you are vets here in the room? Okay, enough of you. And how many of you eagerly jump out to seek counseling? Or ever did? Yeah, I see a few laughing. That's the case. My son, my youngest, my dad was a vet. My oldest went through West Point. In fact, I see Captain Colley here. He had to put up with Captain Colley for 4 years over at Valencia in the ROTC program and managed to make it past Captain Colley on that. No, Captain Colley was great with that. But Ryan ended up going to West Point. And I know, having watched the kids, he graduated West Point, he's now with the 101st Airborne, and seeing Ryan and his peers, they're not jumping, and working with a lot of the vets now, they're not jumping for counseling. What we're finding is with people like Josh, who I described a few minutes ago, they're finding their best support mechanism is through that peer-to-peer, through talking to each other. So, and talking with each other and assisting each other. So that's the goal here. This project is going to be a joint project, a Habitat project. Habitat will be the developer, but it'll be a joint project with CalVet. So the veterans will get their mortgage through CalVet at a low interest amount, at an affordable rate, and they would then have a 30-year traditional mortgage payback over time, along with doing sweat equity as they go in and get their homes. The homes are, the vets are going to be pre-qualified. We've already signed our first veteran for the future home, and we anticipate being able to fill these 87 over the 2-3 years it's going to take us to do the entire build out with this. So our intention is to build it in 3 phases, but immediately put in all the infrastructure. We're going to put in a community garden in there. There are going to be play areas for the kids, lots of play spaces, gazebo out there, along with barbecues and places for the vets to meet, communicate with each other. The aquatic center is about a quarter mile up the road. We already have partnered with Child and Family Center on counseling. We're working on some joint projects there. We've partnered with College of the Canyons and are working with them closely with the vets. We've partnered with Action because many of these vets have drug issues, and we've actually, with Habitat, assisted with Action in building their zone. I don't know how many of you are familiar with it now, but the zone's a community center free of charge to our kids, put on and funded by Action over right opposite opposite Home Depot on Ruther, over in that same Hobbytown Center. They have 7,000 square feet. Habitat will be using it for programs for our vets during the day when the kids are at school, and then it becomes an Action Zone project after school. And also we're going to use it to help right now assist in getting some of the vets signed up for this. We're working with the Hart School District on a full ROP program. That's I think the first of its kind in many ways, because we're working with unions with that. We're giving the students a chance to actually see how we go through the whole process of building. And then once we break ground, we'll be doing community builds just about every weekend. There'll be plenty of opportunity for everybody to come out there, put on a hard hat, take a hammer, put up some paint, and help build this as we make this truly a Santa Clarita project. Our other partners include the sheriffs. We're working closely with them on this. We're working closely with the city on it, and we've also the Saugus Elementary School District, who will be an important part of this, because these young vets, their kids are going to go in through the Saugus School District. Next, or is that it? There we go. I already talked about this a little bit with the Pacoima project, the grade point average. A couple of interesting things there. The amount of families who've gone back on to return to schools, over 10% of the families down in the Habitat Pacoima project. So I'm sure there's a bunch of questions. We've been making presentations to the various groups out there. I'll answer that in a second. Our plan is to go in front of planning with this sometime in January. We hope to go in front of City Council in February. There will need to be a zoning. I'm going to answer a lot of the questions we're already getting, and then I'll open it up in a second. There will need to be a zoning change on this. This property was originally part of the original Centerpoint plan, so we will have to do a zoning shift over to residential. And so that will definitely have to go in front of both planning and City Council. We're working, we've visited just about every group that is, and are in the process of visiting, every stakeholder group in the Valley so that we can address some of their concerns. We've been getting some great input from those groups, and that's what we're looking for tonight. In addition to answering your questions, is to get some input from you as well.
My name is Paul Lennon, and I want to thank you for your, you really deserve kudos for this program. Again, it appears to be the first, and you just confirmed that, is the first in the country. My question is, after you have people pre-qualified, and you ostensibly have a pool of pre-qualified candidates, how do you prioritize one potential vet from another potential vet? Do you already have, or are you working on a criterion for this? Yes,
we're doing that. We're doing a lot of outreach right now. We have Sarah and her team. Sarah, by the way, handles all the community coordination for us, along with wearing a lot of hats. Donna Deutschman, who's our Habitat CEO, is up here 2 or 3 times a week. She couldn't be here tonight, but Sarah is Donna's right arm in making sure everything happens out there. And they've got a team, and we're going to be placing a more aggressive team. We're now announced, we've gone public with all this, and so now we can put an aggressive team out there to reach out to all the vets and all the vet groups here in Santa Clarita and start identifying those people. And then we're going to have to prioritize, because it will be, I'm sure we're going to have more than 87 applicants here. Habitat, what?
Do you want me to answer the question?
Yeah, go ahead.
The way we prioritize it is first by need for, like, for instance, disability, and also family size. So a family of 7 would get the home before a family of 2, because it's a 4-bedroom home, and a family of 7 is in greater need of a 4-bedroom home than maybe a family of 2 or 3 that could live in a 2-bedroom apartment more comfortably. And then it goes by disability, and then income, and certain situations like single parents and things like that. So it goes down a list, family size and disabilities being the first part and the greatest need, and then we kind of go by need after that, and income as well. Lower income we try to serve first. Those who are more likely to maybe qualify for a home or something else would come second.
And then it depends also if a family of 5 or 6 living with mom and dad in a 7,000 square foot Sand Canyon home is not necessarily going to get the same priority as that family of 7 living in a much smaller home somewhere in Santa Clarita. So that gets factored in as well.
Or if your kids are going to move out and go to college in 2 years, then the family who has a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old would probably get priority over the 2 parents that have 2 high schoolers.
And we also are anticipating some vets may be having an elder parent and bringing that parent into the home in the extended family as well. So I think we're going to have to, as we see the applicants come in, we're going to have to take those and see those. But there is, as Sarah said, there is a pretty extensive criteria. And then CalVet also has it has to go through the Habitat criteria and then also the CalVet criteria. This is the head of CalVet. For those who don't know, Peter Gravitt is the head of CalVet, the Secretary General, and he's actually a cabinet member on Jerry Brown's cabinet. And he's been down here many times. He came to our press conference here 2 weeks ago when we made the announcement over at the property. He will be down here quite a lot, along with a lot of his staff. And they're looking at this as the framework and the model for what can become projects that will be done throughout the state of California. The other cool side of this is they are very open, and they've gone through some changes in actual legislation to be able to make this happen up in Sacramento. But the other cool thing is, because he's a cabinet member, he's able to also coax cabinet members from the other disciplines, be it health or education, to look at maybe doing some other support projects together with this that's focused for the vets. So we're really excited because we're creating a whole new template in Sacramento as well as down here in Santa Clarita.
Hi, I just wondered, who owns the property?
The property is a Habitat property. So right now the property is in escrow. Property went, the property after the developer had it, his name was Julius Schwimmer. He passed away, and it went into bankruptcy and was bought by a real estate trust out of Dubai, who currently own it. We've purchased it. It's in escrow under Habitat. When I say we, Habitat has purchased it. Our Habitat has purchased it, and it's in escrow with stipulations and different phases as we navigate through now, till we get to the point of being able to get approved by City Council. So Habitat will be the owner of the land as a joint, though this will be a joint cooperative project with CalVet. So Habitat will own the land. Habitat will be doing some of the funding for the houses and some of the mortgages, and then CalVet will be participating with with a portion of the mortgage. So that will be divided up. And we're not going to know that exact amount until we know exactly how many homes we're going to get in there and what the final project is going to look like. So we have ballpark costs, and we have our threshold of what we want to make sure the vet is able to come in, and that's under that $1,200. But we don't know exactly what that number is going to look like yet. We're too early in the process. One of the things we would like is as we go public with this, we want you to share this with your friends and neighbors. We have a website, is habitatscv.org. That's habitatscv.org. Most of you know where to find me over at the radio station, but we will be, KHTS will continue to promote this and be doing stories as we go along. We encourage you to, we really would like you to support us in this project, and you can do that when we go in front of planning, which we hope will be January, but we'll know in December. We'll be going on 30-day notice for that, as is the way all projects are done. And we're working, just want to also say, we're working very closely with the city on this. They've been extremely helpful, extremely supportive on it. So I want to thank the city as well. And thank you guys.